Green, green, green.
Mark, are you on a mobile?
I believe so.
I'm on my cell phone while I'm driving through
Might be, anyways.
rural Wisconsin.
All right, so hello, Twig peoples. Okay, so the first item I've got on the agenda today is Autoscape is in.
Yay!
Woo!
I haven't even got a chance to look at it yet. It's been like 2 weeks actually since it's been in.
That's understandable.
So yeah, it's in, and we just have a bunch of follow-ups to go after.
Yep. So there's some double escaping stuff, and that actually, let me rearrange the agenda slightly. So that brings us into our. Well, actually, before we do that, I do want to thank everyone who was involved in AutoEscape. So, like Joel, CHX, Fabian X, B-Dragon, everyone, XJam, XJam. And then I think we had like a DCam or someone. There were some people working on docs.
And Fabian and
Silifan. So thank you, everyone. That was a huge thing.
It's been on since 2012. Sometime in 2012, we're like, yeah, we're gonna put this in there.
Yeah.
What later?
Sometime.
But the biggest thing that held that back is the conversions for the most part, because if we didn't do the theme conversions, that would have been a much harder task, I think.
That's true.
There is quite a few exceptions in there that we had to put in there for safe markup for theme functions. So when those get converted, those exceptions go away.
Yay!
Yeah.
Yay!
Extra code doesn't need to be there when Twig's doing the template rendering for you.
So actually, I'm kind of debating now, because I think the second item is probably what we're actually going to be talking about, but and I don't want to. Okay, so yeah, let me just jump to number 3 for a second, and we'll go back to AutoEscape and some other stuff. So number 3 is the URL generator Twig extension is RTBC.
Yeah, scary, but whatever. They're pushing it forward. I'm kind of glad it's just going to go in, and we can fix things after it goes in.
Like, I think I don't know. I was never really that polarized on.
I'm just scared because I use that all the time, and now I'm going to lose it, but we're going to lose it anyway, so it's kind of like, but at the same time, it's like, well, it's going to go that way anyway, so why fight it?
What's the URL generation thing?
If you use a URL function in Drupal 7, you were using it with paths, and we had a URL function in Twig, but it is being deprecated in Drupal, so it's being deprecated in the Twig function as well. Or sorry, it's a Twig function as well. So it's being replaced with a URL generator, which is what Drupal 8 has, and that thing takes routes, not paths. So when you're using the URL function, and I think even the paths one, I actually haven't read the latest patch, but I think both path and URL function, Twig functions, take in routes, right? Does that make sense?
So maybe I'm not like, there's many times where I don't completely grasp the situation. So let's just add this to the pile. URL, do you need to create a route for it to make this work then? Do you need this for an external URL?
Good question. I do not know the answer to that. And that's one of those things where I'm scared, but it might happen. But if it's an external URL, why are you putting it through a generator? Just write the URL in there.
I don't know.
So you don't really need that at the same time.
Yeah.
If it's an external URL, I think it'll just work with the URL function too, and but I can't really see why you'd need a URL generator to build an external URL. You just type the external URL if you're putting it in the template anyways. So
what is the use case for the URL generator?
If you want to say you want a URL to your user login page, and you're in a French and English website, and depending on which one you're on, it should go to the different prefixed URL or something, or you're in a subfolder and you also want it to make sure that it puts that stuff in there automatically, you want to use that kind of thing, a URL generator. So you'll say url.login and it'll go to the right one. So if you're using you want to use routes for all the URLs in Drupal. That way it can properly build them.
That makes sense.
Yeah, it's very popular in to use routes, and we're using routes, and it's pretty cool. It's just that I kind of feel like we're saying routes are the only way to go, and I think they're the better way to go. I just don't want it to be the be all and end all. So but we can fix that later. So let's continue.
Is there an easy way for somebody who's like working with a theme or something like that to look up a list of all the routes?
That's called, I think that's if you're looking in issues about that kind of thing, it would be called route discovery, and I don't think that's been tackled yet. So, but if you're looking for an issue, it'll be called that. It'll be called route discovery, and you're trying to figure out, like, what's the route for this URL, for example.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, the easy way is to just look through all the routing.yaml files. That's the route discovery that I have at the moment. And there might be another one that I haven't seen because I literally haven't looked at anything Drupal 8 in like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
But there might be something. Like, that's the way. If I want to look up a route, I look for the routing YAML files, and then I just say, oh, I'm looking for this URL. Where is it in the routing YAML files? And then grab the route name and put it in there.
Yeah, I mean, I get the concept of like the routes and everything like that. I'm just trying to think through some themer who's maybe not totally familiar with the back end sort of things. How
Yeah.
it's easy for them
And
to
it's a minor
make
case.
use of this.
Yeah, it's a minor case. Themers really won't be using URLs that much in there, but they will. They will use it, so it's very important to have it in there. So this gives them the ability to use proper routes. Themer can also just hard code it in there, but that's to their own demise.
Yeah.
And that's the same in Drupal 7. If you don't use the URL function in Drupal 7, you have the same problem.
Yeah.
Like all your English, French URLs won't map up, or you put it into Drupal into a subfolder, it won't map up. Like a lot of reasons why you want to use the URL function. But the path system was pretty awesome for that kind of stuff, for like subdirectories and prefixed URLs, and like prefixed language prefixing and stuff like that. So I don't know what the equivalent is with routes. I know, well, I kind of do know what the equivalent, but I don't know. It's something to look at when the problem arises, I think. I'm thinking too far ahead.
Cool.
I always do that. So, yeah, Scott, that's that. Are you still there?
I'm still here. Is Scott still here?
He's just, I don't know. He posted something a minute ago, but I can't hear him. Apparently, you can't hear me. That's correct.
Ooh, I vaguely hear him.
Oh,
Hello?
there.
Hello.
Hello?
Hello.
There you go.
There we are.
I don't know. Are you guys echoing?
No echoing.
No. I hear you now.
Okay. I just unplugged my headphones, so for whatever reason, they stopped working. I was just saying I pasted a link into the chat to the Web Profiler project, which is Drupal 8 module that Luso Luca and Daniel Dawainer have been working on, and I believe, I haven't tried it in a long time, but I believe it will, if you go to any page, I think it'll tell you the route of that page.
That's a bizarre thing for a
Nice.
profiler to do.
Well, it's not a profiler in that sense, like it does a lot of stuff.
Oh. It's like everything module.
It's like I basically think of it as like a development toolbar kit kind of thing. Because it does give you some stats on, timing and memory usage and stuff, but it also gives you a lot of kind of useful debugging type stuff.
It looks like the one that comes with Symfony.
Yeah, I think it's kind of like so it's a port of the Symfony Web Profiler bundle. It's your plate module. That's the description. So there's that. Because I think I kind of think that issue that you're talking about with the route discovery, Joel, I think that might have been. Well, actually, no. He did ping me about it, but anyway, I think on that issue it was just kind of like, well, we have this sweet contrib module, so that might be enough. I don't know. I think this.
Well, there's probably people looking into it because it's going to be a problem, but it could be done in contrib or it could be done anywhere else. Really, it's not like high priority, I guess. There is ways to get at it now. It's just not very. It's not that it's not nice. It's just not easy.
I agree. All right, so I think that's pretty good. So we can go back to sort of auto-escapey stuff. So there's wow, that's an interesting node ID. So we have 2289999.
999.
That's what's the issue called again? Loading. Add an easy way to create HTML on the fly without having to create a theme function / template. So this is the inline template kind of thing, Twig inline.
Yeah.
And I personally, I really do see this as a stepping stone. I don't think we're going to be en masse converting stuff to this. It's just, to me, this is better than hash markup. And if we can pull stuff out of hash markup and put it into these kind of pseudo Twig templates, I see that as actually making it easier down the line for hopefully when we can take that, whatever that is being output there, and actually make it part of a bigger template. Because if it's already using Twig auto-escaping and loops and filters and whatever, then it's really literally just like a copy and paste.
Interesting.
So
Yeah, I was a little.
You were a little.
Your existing patterns for dealing with this. Probably.
So I think we lost part of that, Mark. Can you repeat that,
Did you
please?
hear me?
You went a little robot.
I said I was initially dubious.
Somewhat.
Hey, better now? Can you hear me better now?
We can hear you.
Hello?
So
Hello.
it's cutting in and out and stuff like that, so it's...
Okay. I said I was initially dubious, but I do think it's a better pattern than what we already have right now.
Yeah.
So I like templates, but, if this is a step that gets us that way, then fine.
I don't really understand it yet, so I'll save any comments.
It's I can try. It's basically it's a type. We can do in a render array. You can do hash type Twig inline.
Yeah.
And then hash template is literally like your string, like your Twig template.
Yeah.
So if you look in the issue summary under proposed resolution.
And Twig has a... Oh, sorry, you cut out there. Yeah, and remember in my talk that I was trying to do stuff, inline templating is part of, like, Twig has a loader called a string loader, which is what inline templating is.
Totally.
So I'm just wondering why we need to invent like another hash grossness to do that. But maybe I should propose something instead of complaining about it. But
I don't really know
template.
because you know more about the string loading stuff, but my first instinct would be maybe that because you need to pass variables in, or just general, I don't know.
No, variables you can pass through too. The only thing that I can think of is definitely probably has something to do with the safe markup stuff. And the string loader, Yeah, we don't have a way to swap out the loaders right now. We have a hard-coded loader for a template loader, and we've hacked it so that it does Drupal stuff. So if I just replace the inline loader, it does work, but it might not do stuff that you would like it to do for a normal loader. But it would be a lot more succinct if we could just have like Drupal, like I was thinking, like Drupal inline, Twig inline or whatever. You would just pass the template and the variables through that, and you wouldn't have to use hashes. But yeah.
I mean, this is using the Twig loader string class for what it's worth.
It is?
Yeah.
Curious. I have to actually look at it.
It's basically, so it's overriding in Twig environment. I'm assuming it's overriding or, oh no, it's, yeah, so it's kind of adding like a new function in there. So when it's updating, basically it's just basically got like a get loader with an inline equals false as the default, as the first parameter, and the default is false.
Yep.
So if you call get loader by default, you'll get the file loader, but if you say inline, then you get the string loader.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, so
that's kind of what I was thinking in the same way, but I was just thinking, like the only thing that's the thing that I like. The thing that I don't like is the hashes. I hate them. I hate them with Drupal 7, I hate them with Drupal 8.
Yeah.
Because they're structured data, but there's nothing dictating that structure. It just like, this is the way you said it would work, so it should work that way, and we have some tests that prove that it'll work that way, but it's just like, how do we know it's supposed to work?
It's not an API.
Yeah.
There is actually an interesting issue that I came across recently that's talking about documenting sort of like form API, render API keys in some kind of standard way. You know, as opposed to
if
that.
They have one, that would be awesome. I just don't. Yeah.
I'm not saying that's really solving the full problem, but it would certainly help a lot.
It would, yeah.
So, yeah. So anyway, I'll see if I can find that. And link that, but I'm not going to poke around for that now.
So, just so I understand one thing better in this issue,
sure.
It was mentioned that like the prefix and suffix, like render elements, like those we'd probably never have templates for, so you'd always need to do some inline markup there. Is that correct? I guess.
Sorry, don't understand the question.
Well, I mean, what I had raised as a concern was that in general, you know, it'd be nice to have the template files, Twig template files. And then I think it was Chex pointed out that there's some things like prefix and the suffix, like on titles, that probably would not have templates. Those would always have inline markup like that.
Yep.
I just wanted to make sure that that's what the plan was.
I don't know if that would be changed at all. Those prefix suffix stuff is hairy area, but it's also the same thing. So markup, prefix, suffix all take in raw HTML. So they're the kind of the edge cases of this whole render API for safe markup.
Yeah.
And the inline templating is essentially the same thing as what markup provides you with, and it's just a quick and dirty way to put some raw HTML into it, to the output of your browser or whatever. Now I'm getting echoed.
Yeah. All right, I get it.
Yeah, I was just trying to bring up, it's funny that I was just trying to bring up the gigantic form API reference.
Oh, nice.
The
form API reference is not too bad. There's no.
But it's manually.
It's
manually maintained, so.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I guess I'm wondering if it's possible to, like, kind of what you were talking about earlier, Joel, makes me think that if we could do something that's almost more of like a, I don't know, I guess in D8 it would be like a service or something that you could call for inline stuff. Like basically I'm thinking like, I don't know if it would help at all, but basically to be able to like type stuff directly to prefix and suffix. Because I don't think you could do, unless you can do suffix and then give that a render array, but I don't think you can.
I don't think you can either.
I think it's just got to be, yeah, text or markup.
Oh, so you could not do Twig with those?
I don't think so, unless you actually like Drupal render something, and then jam it in there. But yeah, I don't know. So it's, I mean, the big thing that is what I see as the driving force of that issue is so that we can avoid using that safe markup set. That seems to be almost the reason why it was created. So
okay, I'll skip to that. To read it later.
Yeah. And I unfortunately haven't had a chance yet to look at the work that's been done in the sandbox, the banana sandbox.
I have not touched.
But there is a D8NJ branch in there. Because CrowdCG and Wheat Penny did some work on that a few weeks ago at New Jersey Sprint event. So anyway, I'm kind of anxious to hear a report from them as to kind of how things went for them and what they found out. Especially as far as like template inheritance and stuff. I'm not sure if they got that far, but I know like Joel, I share that concern of yours that, you know, what happens with template inheritance with when we have these kind of class variables or attribute variables.
How so?
Well, I guess no, I didn't really say that well, but
the suggestions.
How do we avoid having templates that are identical other than a block at the top which determines which attributes, well, in really classes, are going to end up in that template in the end.
And if you're using a set of, like a giant block, okay, it's duplicated here. If you're using a giant block of classes at the top of the template, and then you make a bunch of suggestions, so page, article, page, contact, whatever the different variations of that template. How do you not duplicate that array of classes that are being set easily?
Yeah, I mean, if it is setting a variable, right, Joel? Isn't it?
Yeah, you're setting a variable. Well, you can set a variable or just write it in line. It's up to you.
Right. So, I mean, if it's setting a variable and you're extending that template, as long as the only thing is if you want to change that, I think it might be different. But if you are okay with what's in the parent template, I think for the most part you could just extend some other part, you know, some div somewhere, whatever. You could extend that, and it should still inherit the attributes from the parent template.
Yep.
Right.
Yep. That might be. I'm just.
So, but I don't know. The thing that's kind of still going around my head, and I haven't really had a chance to play with, is kind of like the multiple levels of inheritance. If we have. Basically, if we're introducing a base theme into core that we're kind of thinking everything will use, then what happens with grandchildren themes as far as template inheritance?
Oh yeah.
Because I think maybe I'm making this up, but I think Twig itself has a limitation of template inheritance on depth kind of thing.
You might.
Like I'm not sure if you can extend from something that's extending something else. I thought I read that somewhere.
Yeah, it's one of those issues you might run into when you do it, but it would be that's what would be good to see. Is it Crowd? What's his name?
Yeah, Sean Crowd CG, I think.
CG.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
We could just hear.
Twig does not support multiple inheritance, but that means like multiple inheritance means like a class that's extending multiple classes at the same time, right?
Maybe. I know that PHP in general doesn't allow for multiple inheritance.
No, but you can extend a class that extends another class.
Yes.
So.
But you can't extend two classes from one.
Right.
But that's different.
Right. So anyway, this might just be something that I have to play with to see. Also be interesting to know how that interacts with the Drupal theme registry Twig loader kind of thing.
Have we made any progress on that issue?
It pretty much just needs tests, Mark.
Okay.
I'm actually doing a sprint here in town on this Saturday in 2 days, so so far there's not a lot of RSVPs to that, so if it's slow, then that's what I'm going to be working on.
Okay.
Because yeah, I haven't had a chance to get back to it, but it just really needs some tests, and it should be good to go. I mean, you know, pending debates and sheds and things, but
I don't think it's very controversial.
Yeah, to me it isn't, but you never know.
Sorry, I missed that one.
Let me grab the link for that one. I think I'm still assigned to it.
Echoing still?
Yeah. Okay. So the issue is add Twig template inheritance based on the theme registry. So So I just pasted the link in there. So what it allows you to do is, if you're extending, let's say, the node template, you don't need to specify the full path or the at kind of namespace thing. You can just say extend node.html.twig, and the Twig file system loader, it's extending that, and it basically calls the Drupal theme registry and looks for what's the current node.html.twig in use and passes that back to Twig, so it knows which one to extend based on the theme registry.
Sweet.
So this kind of works really nicely with the whole block thing. You know how the block template has a Twig block in it now?
Block.
So if you, for example, and we have that block, system branding block, themes template suggestion in there as well. So if you, for example, took that and copied it into your theme, and then later on decided, this is kind of the example that sort of spurred this, and Mark was the one who kind of came forward with this. But if you decide later on that you want to override the actual block template, then you would still be in that system branding block, because it says @block at the top. You would still be extending from the block module rather than the one that you just copied into your theme. So it's just sort of like a intuitive thing, and I think it makes a lot of sense.
Mark, I muted you.
Yeah, go ahead.
Because I thought you might be the one where I'm echoing, but you can unmute yourself maybe if you're trying to talk. Because I can't do it. I can mute you, but I can't unmute. And I can still hear myself.
I think I can. Oh no, I can't. Ah, darn it.
So, Mark, unmute yourself if you want to talk.
I thought I had all.
I'm
I
echoing
thought I
through
was
you,
like.
Scott.
Oh, hello.
I thought it was
Oh,
like
hello.
user-
Hello. Can you hear me?
Oh, wow, that's
Yes,
echo.
I thought it was like
Alright.
user one in this hangout. What gives?
I'm wondering if we're getting an echo because you took your headphones off.
Oh, very probably, yeah. Very probably. I can try plugging them in again. I lost my mic and I felt like a crazy person because I was like talking to you guys and like you guys just kept on talking and I was like,
Poor
Yeah,
Mark.
or if you
Let's
muted
try this
yourself while you're not talking, that would work too.
hello?
Yep, I can
Okay.
hear you.
Headphones.
Yay, no more
Headphones seem to
echoes.
be working again. I pulled a Morton there.
Okay, so the use case with this is that it just makes things a lot more sane. So let's say that you copy your block template into your theme, but you don't copy the site branding block. Then if you update your, the markup that's in the block template, even if you don't have site branding in your theme, it'll still propagate.
Oh yeah, that too. Yeah.
That's one of the use cases, and the other use case is, I guess, the backwards version of that.
Yep.
Yeah. So, is if you have you have the block template and the site branding block in your theme. I don't know. It's useful.
Yeah,
It's really useful.
Yeah, because I mean, kind of a similar thing with like the node template. If for some reason if you had like node article, node blog, node page, but no node.html.twig in your theme, and then all of a sudden you decided, oh, actually these are all, let's say it's a base theme, so your node template already has a twig block in it. This is getting crazy, but your node template in your base theme already has a twig block in it, and then you're extending that for your specific content types, but then you decide there's something in the base node template that you want to change, so you copy it from the base theme and etc.
Yeah. I have sort of a related question while we're talking about. You mentioned system branding block. I'm still trying to keep alive the three other issues. There's some other like page variables into a block. So there's like title, local actions, tabs, and then we broke messages into a separate issue.
Yeah.
And there's the menu block stuff, which is dependent upon the whole menu refactoring getting done.
Right.
Yeah, and there's quite some improvements on that one too, it looks like.
Oh yeah, and I tried it out. I walked through it with Peter one day, and just like walked through what needed to make the menu stuff work, and it'll all work.
It's a huge patch.
Yeah, but it's been broken up, and they're on stage 4 out of 5, so and 4 is almost done.
Nice.
So anyways, what I was getting back to, I was testing this last weekend the page title as a block thing with somebody at a sprint, and what we discovered was that Quick Edit doesn't work right. Quick Edit creates the same ID for the contextual menu for the title that appears in the block, as well as the block itself, so nothing gets edited.
Interesting.
So it has a duplicate ID?
Yeah.
Oh,
and
okay.
and we tried like changing the ID of the block, and I don't think that fixed it either. It was just confusing. Like, it didn't work really. I don't know how Quick Edit works at all. So, do either of you know?
Nope.
Not really.
It's magic, black arts.
I think Wim Lears would be the person to ping on that one, though.
I have a long stack of issues that can only be solved by Wim Lears. So, which is probably not which is why you probably shouldn't be arguing with him. And I'm arguing with him in one issue right now about whether you can have empty alt text for images inserted for WYSIWYG. So I probably shouldn't like argue with him too much because I need his help.
That's funny.
Okay.
So can you use alt tags?
So the answer is talk to Wim. I mean, right now the way that it works is that if you're inserting an image, you're required to put it on every single image. And there's some cases where it's better to have an empty alt. And so, but like actually getting that to work and not getting people to abuse that is really tricky in your interface to do that. So.
Right.
I'm wondering how the HTML5 is panning out for that one too.
Back on putting.
It's sort of like a required thing in HTML. XHTML.
But I do.
You're kind of cutting out, Mark. I think for me anyway.
Well, I wasn't talking. Can you hear me?
Yeah, just delayed.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm talking over you because it's a bit delayed, so.
Yeah.
It's about a 10-second delay, I think.
Anyhow.
1,000, 2,000, 3,000.
You really think it's that much?
Yeah, it feels like it. Sometimes it's better.
I'm in the boondocks. I have bad internet.
That was
hilarious.
That was so robotic.
He said boondocks in like a robot voice. It was awesome.
I am in the boondocks. I believe you, Mark. I believe you. That's great. All right. Anything else that we want to talk about?
No, I haven't got a chance to do that add class thing, but I got a what the heck is his name? Wilson, Jay Wilson.
Oh yeah.
Jay Wilson 3. He brought up an old issue that I actually was following at one point that has like the same thing on it. I'm like, oh my god.
I read through it and I was like, oh, this brings back memories.
I never, like, I've read through part of it. I commented on that issue, but I don't remember them talking about the add class thing. But I think I saw, like, Fabian say, yes, it should be in there, and here's what you should add, and it looks like jQuery, and it's like, oh my god.
Yeah, it was totally weird.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It makes me feel like it's the right solution if we've landed on it twice now.
Yeah, 2 issues landing on the same issue, same solution. Yeah, I kind of want to go that direction too. I just need to I need an hour of time to knock that out.
Which issue is this?
But yeah, an hour.
It's the one to add methods on the attribute class so that you can, or sorry, on the attribute, object class, whatever, so that you can add classes and remove classes kind of from your Twig template is the use case. But you could do it from PHP too, I guess, if you wanted to.
Yeah. And it actually might even be easier. Then we don't have to treat them as arrays.
Oh, right, yeah. True.
And merging of them would be actually a lot easier because it's built in. So for RDF, that might like improve like a number of duplicate codes where it's just looping through or doing some crazy array merge thing.
Yeah.
Nested array merge thing.
Nested array merge thing.
Mm-hmm. Which actually I saw some things in Drupal 7 that were getting that nested array merge thing.
Yeah, because there's some contribs that kind of need that.
Yeah, file download was doing some nesting. Yep. 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 6,000, 7,000, 10,000.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like 10 seconds.
Okay. Do we want to? Okay. So here, let's say I'm gonna stop the broadcast.
My understanding.
Hold on. Okay, bye, Twig broadcast.